The civil wars and upheavals in various small countries of Latin America equip themselves from these second-hand dealers in death. Uniforms for these warriors are often discarded outfits of some army now dead. Antique and ornate ensembles fetch better prices in this commissary. The purveyors of this type of war material do not stop at guns and uniforms. They even sell bugles, rolling kitchens, and medals. They also try to sell shoes, but these armies prefer to go barefoot. Why waste time winding puttees? These comic opera soldiers may look as if they stepped out of Gilbert and Sullivan, but their bayonets are of steel and their bullets of lead. The principal customer for this type of armament is usually some brigand who has turned general, or some general who's become a brigand. Of course, this second-hand arms trade has its share of troubles. It can't always ship its merchandise over the usual routes. Guns are often contraband, and so shipments of munitions must be smuggled. New Orleans is a real center of gun-running operations in the United States, and out of its harbor for many years has sailed a mystery ship, which frequently changes its color and its name, but which is always loaded to the gunwales with a cargo of iron death. There are many fast boats around New York, which load in the dark of night, and then run like bootleggers out beyond the 12-mile limit. Here, they reload their merchandise on regular merchantmen. Once landed at its destination, the cargo, disguised as silks or something equally innocent, is unloaded, and another small-time army is equipped for the job of legalized murder. The Morro Castle disaster, this ship often carried ammunition camouflaged in cases labeled sporting goods. Second-hand guns, when they become too old to be effective, are thrown into the junk heap along with tin cans and old automobiles. And out of these same junk piles are fashioned the implements of slaughter which will be used in the war of tomorrow. It took 10 years to clean the debris of the last war out of the battlefields of Europe. Old shells were salvaged to be refilled and used again. Mutilated shells were saved for the smelters to be cast into new shapes. And more than 500 lives were lost on this job. Scraps of iron and all sorts of junk metals are carefully hoarded to be thrown into blazing furnaces and molded into more armaments. Today, this junk is sold at high prices to many foreign countries whose own supply of metals is low.
Leaves the harbor carrying a load of contraband munitions and the flag. She's discovered by a hostile submarine far out at sea. A torpedo zings away from the sub into the ship's side, and she sinks, flag and all. The fierce cry goes up that national honor has been violated. The papers howl war. An emotional populace is lashed into frenzy. And war is declared. That torpedo wounded national pride, and so millions of sturdy young men are to be thrown into the maw of death in a war more horrible than can be imagined. The dealers in death have been building for this new war. Modern, terrible equipment is ready and waiting, and the sky is the new war testing ground. Aerial armies have completely changed the character of warfare. Planes 100 times more powerful than anything heretofore used will zoom out of the sky. Big cities will be their principal objectives. If there aren't enough bombers, mail pilots trained in dropping mail bags will release powerful bombs from converted mail planes. These deadly missiles will swiftly descend to make a gruesome shambles of civilian communities. The sky will be dark with monster planes. Planes so stabilized that landings and takeoffs will be foolproof. Planes controlled by wireless, responsive to the touch of mechanical men miles distant. Planes built to carry heavy loads. A ton of bombs, poison gases, death rays, liquid fire. Long-range anti-aircraft guns will blaze away in a futile attempt to scare off these devils of the air. Thousands of planes equipped with automatic machine guns. Each country's territory divided into aerial wings with a 200-plane squadron for each wing. Swift monsters ready to battle to the death far above the earth. Winged instruments of destruction, they will elude high-powered guns from below. Death-dealing bombs will drop from the skies to lay waste to factories, power stations, railroads, food and supply depots, homes, in a mass murder of civilians. There will be no limit to the territory covered in this next war. An entire continent can be spanned in 10 hours by these winged demons. Nothing can stop them. Nothing is safe from their onslaught. Countryside and city streets will become blazing infernos as thousands of bombs crash in their midst. $2,500 a bomb. 90-ton tanks are motorized to a speed of 100 miles an hour. They are manned by high-power machine guns which function with equal precision, whether the tank is in motion or standing still. Infantry, completely mechanized, is machine gun equipped too. Light artillery travels on fast trucks and is even mounted on airplanes. Fighting on the sea will be even more deadly and ruthless. Tons of steel will pit themselves against one another in a struggle of merciless and sudden death. Let any object come within the 20-mile range of these powerful battleship guns, and it will be doomed. Each salvo from these huge guns will mean another $25,000 blown up in smoke. Destroyers costing $4 million will scout for hostile $35 million battleships. And along will come a 3,000-ton submarine built for a couple of $1 million to sink both battleship and cruiser. Coast Guard mortars will join the batteries and add to the devastation. Submarines, like the Chems created by Vickers Armstrong, will travel halfway around the world without refueling. It's the fastest submarine in existence. Today's battleship has relentless steel fists. Its guns are loaded and aimed by machine. Its sides are of bulletproof steel made and guaranteed by Bethlehem. The shells it fires are warranted to pierce any armor. Bethlehem also guarantees that. The only real menace to these impregnable Leviathans will be deadly projectiles from huge bombers riding high above. Their iron hulks will be torn into bits by terrific bombers. Nothing will stand up under the aerial onslaught of the future. Fire and devastation will follow in its wake. All vestiges of life will be wiped out. It is doubtful if any will survive to record the horrors of this war. Most horrible of all air attacks will result from the release of gas bombs. The simplest of gases is green cross. This will cause dry land drowning. Your lungs will fill with blood, and after hours of intense torture, death will come as a pleasant relief. Subways and cellars will offer only a momentary refuge to terror-stricken millions whose fear of these hideous gases will stampede them into unbearable, uncontrollable panic. One of the great triumphs of the chemist is mustard gas. This mischievous chemical, known as yellow cross, will cling to your skin and clothing. You will pick it up from the ground as you walk. If you've been anywhere near it, you can infect everyone with whom you come in contact. 18 hours after its release, it starts to work. All living substance begins to rot away. For weeks and even months, you strangle, and then death comes from suffocation amid horrible convulsions. Blue Cross gas penetrates every known gas mask and brings on terrific nausea so that off comes your mask so you can breathe. Then the deadly Green Cross does the rest. Gruesome as these gases are, they're mild compared to the new German product, ironically known as Red Cross gas. Hideous beyond conception in its effect, it beats the best of all other countries. The United States is at present experimenting on another powerful medium for gassing a helpless populace. Called Wind of Death, this new gas hits your warm body and explodes, so that if you're not strangulated, you're blown to bits. The dealers in death have enough steel and iron, powder and chemicals to let loose another hell on earth. And this next war will be more than a hell. It will be a holocaust of all humanity. After it is all over, the DeWendels, Tysons, Krupps, Schneiders, and Zaharoffs will sit down at a director's table and declare a neat dividend for the dealers in death.